When it comes to the Boruto anime, some love it and many do not. I think the main hate for Boruto the anime really comes from the fact that it feels like such a big drop from when you watch Naruto. However, if Naruto Part 1 and Shippuden didn't exist and Boruto came out by itself, I have a feeling a lot of people wouldn't mind it as much. However, this being a sequel to the great Naruto verse that we have built up, I can see why a lot of people definitely do not like this anime. For example, if you're an OG Naruto super fan, one of the things you will really dislike is the fact that there is very little hand signs, and it's a real shame because hand signs initially in part 1 was one of the main things that drew me in. It was so cool to see them do all these different hand signs and invoke their chakra and jutsus. Whereas in Boruto, apart from Sasuke, I can't remember the last time I've really seen many characters really even invoke the hand signs. So there are elements like this that fans notice, but overall in regards to the series as a whole, me personally, I went into it super hopeful and excited, especially when I saw the epilogue. That first 10 seconds of the series completely hooked me in. However, I felt like that was damn near clickbait because it sucked me into watching some annoying anime about a whiny prince moaning about his dad not being around, which to be honest completely confuses me to this day because we saw in the Ninja War that my guy Naruto can make like 1 billion powerful shadow clones that can be ultra far away from each other and in extreme physical battles. So why on earth does Naruto not just do that in the village? It just makes no real sense. And what it does is straight away, it makes us the viewer feel like we're meant to almost not like Naruto because he's basically putting his children in the same position he felt when he had no parents. But we know Naruto is a good dude. So straight away, there's that initial conflict that should we be thinking Naruto's a bad dad? I understand they're trying to make it seem like, okay, after that Naruto now is important, he's busy. However, there's no real reason in world why Naruto doesn't distribute the task between the shadow clones. And I don't care if Naruto tries to say, oh, you know, it's cheating, it's really nice, the skill set that you have. But in the grand scheme of things, this little shadow clone issue I'm ranting about, to be honest, is only the tip of the iceberg. But within this, there is the seed as to why a lot of people may not be a fan of Boruto, because straight away it's like you're pitching us against the main character of the series we love versus the new one, because he's putting down his dad all the time and we've grown to really love Naruto. So that was initially, I think, the point that a lot of fans wasn't really receptive to this new protagonist because he starts off the worst way possible. As for the most part, he comes off like a brat, but the problem is that he's just a naive child. He hasn't gone through the warring period. He hasn't gone through any deep trauma or any of the things that Naruto or any of the other cast members have gone through. So he's very entitled, but the problem is, for us the viewers, it doesn't make us feel like we should connect with the character because he does really come off very annoying. But I'll dive into what makes a good protagonist a little bit later on in the video. So let's move on. When it comes to the actual characters, they are way less interesting than the Naruto characters we are used to. Many of them have regular backgrounds, which does make them relatable to us, the audience, but that also makes it a little bit boring for a shonen. Like, I don't mind the slice of life anime being mixed in, but most of the characters initially were dead boring, apart from the little mystery with Mitsuki as to where he came from. But overall, they all just had similar backgrounds, like kids running around, sitting on trains, and moaning about their parents. That was basically it. It's very, very, well, boring. There's no deep connection like there was with many of the characters in the Naruto series. You know what I mean? There's no deep trauma like with Sasuke or Naruto. It was just very, very just flat. Initially, the main conflict was the fact that Naruto was busy being Hokage, which again isn't very interesting to watch for a shonen. But as for the overall new gen characters, I do feel like they just did a huge copy and paste of too many of the OG cast. Like, I don't see why we need an anxiety-riddled Rock Lee kid. Now, when it comes to the actual art style, I hate it. I more or less despise most of the art style in Boruto. I've made a whole video on it talking about why I dislike the character designs and why they suck, so you can check out that video. But in summary, I just don't think many of the characters look good. Like the OG characters, they make them look terrible. Gaara, Onko, Shino, they all look trash. Compared to how they looked originally in the OG series, it's like they almost downgraded these cool character designs just to make them the butt of the jokes. Like Gaara was initially a very dope looking character, and now he's got this weird ass haircut. And before somebody chimes in and say that's not Boruto's fault, it was shown in Naruto, the 700th chapter, I believe. I don't care. At the end of the day, most people know these new designs from watching Boruto. So straight away is one of the reasons why many people do not like the look of Boruto. And personally, I'm not even a massive fan of the main character design. Like Boruto, I feel like his design looks pretty poor too. Like he has these weird 3 little leaves of bananas hanging off the top of his head. It just doesn't look good. Where are the really cool, unique designs like Kimimaro? Like overall, Boruto, along with some of the other male characters, look very feminine. They don't really look like very strongly drawn characters. And to be honest, when I first watched this series, I actually thought that Boruto was a girl. I didn't even realize it was a dude. If you put a picture of OG Naruto, then put a picture of Boruto next to him, there's no comparison that Naruto clearly looks more detailed. And of course, that leads me on to say that I am not a massive fan of Naruto's final design in Boruto, but that goes without saying. They basically have him looking like a Mark Zuckerberg. He doesn't look as cool as some of the older characters that Naruto used to have, like Minato or Jiraiya. Overall, it just doesn't look great. But in all fairness to Boruto, that design change did happen within the end of Naruto. But yeah, I was hoping they were going to reverse it, but it is what it is. So moving on, another random thing that I really dislike is the invention of these scientific ninja tools. I absolutely hate them. It ruins the premise of a ninja having to work hard to hone their skills and harness their own chakra to form their own jutsus. The whole tool thing, I was hoping that they were going to find the lab and completely destroy them completely forever. So it's really annoying that that's still about. Now, as for this series as a whole, I hate the amount of pointless episodes there is. It's like there's just so much filler crap that makes it hard to consistently watch. So overall, when it comes to this series, it just seems less interesting, which some would say cannot be helped because the series of Boruto does take place after Shippuden, so after the Great War, where most of the major conflicts has ended. Or so we thought, but now we've got like these chakra aliens. But when it comes to these new antagonists, personally, I find every one of them so far to be boring as hell. These magical chakra aliens just don't seem anywhere near as interesting as some of the low-level OG Naruto villains. Because I personally like cunning and intriguing antagonists, which is why I really did love Toby and Pain. I felt like they was completely great, like very interesting, mysterious, very compelling antagonists. Hell, I'd even say that Hidan and Kakuzu, compared to any of the Boruto villains so far, were way more interesting and engaging. Like, I really did like those two. So I have to say, when it comes to the series, in essence, if it wasn't for the first 10 seconds of that epilogue, where we saw the time jump with Kawaki, I would have quit a long time ago. Because that's the one redeeming hope that I just want to see how we get to that point. And without that, I really believe I would have probably quit at like episode 50, as the series is a very slow burn. And throughout most of it, there's no real clear motivations for the main character of Boruto. He was just going through the motion. He's not really anywhere near as compelling as Naruto was as a main character. Like, Naruto had a really clear goal of becoming accepted and respected by the village and ultimately becoming the Hokage. Whereas Boruto was just going through it. He didn't even have like a ninja way or anything. He was just a talented shinobi that was just very lazy, which isn't really that compelling. Whereas Naruto was a complete fuck up, but over time managed to improve his skills and get better and better, which was why we really did root for him and really did want to see him progress. Whereas Boruto, at least initially, was a very unlikable protagonist, but I do feel like they have made strides to improve this, and overall the Boruto series is getting better, but I'm personally still not really invested, as I do think it's a big drop in quality when comparing it to Naruto Part 1 or Shippuden. But what do you guys think? How do you feel when it comes to the Boruto anime or the manga? Like, do you really like the anime, or would you say the manga alone is what should exist?